Good morning, family. This is Ricky, and welcome to Hope for Today. Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Psalm 23 week here at Hope for Today. We're walking through one of the most oft returned to passages in all of Christian scripture that has comforted the saints for thousands of years, the 23rd number of Psalms. And I want to take you right to verse 3, where David celebrates that he restores my soul and he leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Now, honestly, this passage can mean a number of things, but more than anything, what David here is doing is celebrating that God is such a careful shepherd that he'll assume so much of the victory upon his own shoulders. Essentially, that's what he's saying when he said he restores my soul by leading me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Now, in the original language, that phraseology would have more woodenly translated into he leads me in the right paths. He leads me in the right paths. The question, though, we've got to ask is, are we listening? That's the whole point, I think, of the verse, is to celebrate that your soul can be restored when you walk in the right paths of God. And so the only question left is, am I listening to the leading of the Lord? When I was, I guess I would have been about 22, 23, I was ordained at, I think, 21 or 22. And I started thinking about the first church I was going to pastor. And I remember picking what would have been my perfect scenario, because I wanted to do seminary, but I also wanted to pastor at the same time. And there was a seminary in Pasadena, California that I was a big fan of. And there was a church there in Pasadena that I thought, you know what, that would be the perfect church. I could live right around the corner in the parsonage. I could walk to school each and every day. That's perfect for me. So I started praying like crazy. God, let this church pick me. God, I'm going to apply to this seminary. God, it will be perfect for my life. And I remember applying to this church, and I remember them in so many ways saying, you are single, you are young, you have no training, you have no experience, no. It's like, my heart was broken. And I just remember being so downhearted about that. And then I got a call from this little old church in Oakland that had 8 members. And that is a literal fact, 8 members, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They hadn't had a pastor in 3 years and were very much thinking about closing the doors, which is the only reason why they considered maybe we'll try a 23-year-old kid who has no experience and is unmarried. That was 20-something years ago, 20 years ago, 21 years ago. And I just went up there a few months ago to do a funeral and just be with the saints up in Oakland, California. And my heart was so full of joy that God saw fit to ignore the path I asked for and lead me into a right path for me. Because in Oakland, I grew up. In Oakland, I learned how to preach. In Oakland, I learned how to pastor. In Oakland, I learned how to reach the lost. In Oakland, I learned what the purpose of my life was. And I'm so glad that our God is such a good shepherd that he will lead us into the right paths of our life. My point is this as I close. What's the Pasadena you want versus the Oakland he's leading you to? And what does it mean for you to listen to God's voice? Because, friend, wherever God is leading, that's where your soul will be restored. That's Hope for Today. I'll see you next time.